22nd of November 2023, roughly 22 degrees today. A quick tour of the garden. So the chrysanthemum slash dianthus, okay there, aqualegia, and here the Forza red lilies coming out nicely now, and Persian blue, I think that one is, and the Peter over here, and the hollyhock is blooming. It is also, I would say at this point, 8 to 9 feet tall, so that's pretty cool. I overwintered dahlias. There's one there, so I'm going a bit closer there, which, as you can see, is a lot of damage. I don't know if that one's actually going to come good. I think it's basically slug damage and things like that. But these two have done it right. Those are actually from a seed packet. And so, see how they go. Another Nepeta. I think that's probably a different one to the others, because I think I've got 3 different sorts. I'll see how that one goes. Some sunflowers. Developing here. Interesting little insect there. Some nice yellow on there. And see there, shaking with the wind, ladybird. What quite, oh, actually you can see in there, possibly, if it shows it well, it might not. Yep, there you go, yeah. Bunch of ladybirds. A lot more of those this year. Another hollyhock, but hasn't flowered. A bunch of the ones over here haven't. That's okay. Lupin, so I'm coming around this way. Many more flower stalks on there than last year. Last year I think I had 1, maybe 2. Obviously being in the ground for a bit longer has developed quite a bit, and also the secondary one of those there. Another aqualegia, doing nicely. That's got a lot more flower stalks on it as well, as you can see, a lot of them. The alyssum, making a nice little border, it's quite nice. The snapdragons in the back. These snapdragons have died off a bit, or at least the flowers have disappeared quite a bit, but that's okay. The nope, memory's gone right now. Also known as blue eye. They've definitely sort of popped up. They used to be just green before. Liberia? No, I can't think. It'll come up at some point. That's yet to have a nice big flower, and it's supposedly a nice scent to it. It did have one, but it was near the base. It kind of sort of disappeared. Nigella, which turns out is very hardy. A bunch of those have been growing all over. My purchased rose. Let's get to there. The sentimental. There we go. Floribunda rose. That one's obviously a bit sort of rough. Did pick some of those, so they have been okay. Still waiting for the gladioli to bloom, but that's alright. But the Lilium LA hybrid is starting to open up, so that's nice. And lots more flower heads on those. Do a quick spin around to here. Go a bit here. I've got some sunflowers in here. These ones are the Van Gogh variety, so hopefully they come up and I can see what they're like. I bought those from a special online seed company. Another aqualegia. Oops, another aqualegia. Sorry, lost the focus for a bit there. And that's the front garden. That is most likely another Nigella, and that'll probably come good at some point. So I'll zip around the back, ignoring the mess. Skip past that. Okay, so the broad beans, there's basically a forest here. Poppy, and up here the grapevine is doing okay. Obviously getting a lot more sun these days. I did see some little bits on it that could be some fruit forming, but they're sort of hidden now, but that's alright. Broccoli there. That'll probably bolt, I think, because it's a bit too warm for them, but it's a nice bit of coverage. Provides some shade for the ground, so that's okay. And thank you to Paul. I now realise that onions are meant to grow like that. They're not being uncovered, so they can stay and continue growing there. That's fine. I've had a few carrots, so I'll leave the rest in the ground until I actually want to eat them. That's fine. Kale growing there. Bolted lettuce, that's fine. A bunch of potato plants. We actually pulled a whole bunch recently, which is why this area is looking a lot more empty. A lot more carrots as well, of course. I've got some corn starting to pop up. The leeks over there are doing okay. Nice iceberg lettuce over there. This tomato plant is actually from my son. He had a science project, I think 2 other people in the class, and he brought it home and he said, I didn't know if it was going to do too well. And the lower leaves definitely have sort of died off, but I think that top part is an indication that it might still be alright. It was in a bottle, it was like kind of a terrarium situation, so I think the other leaves might have just been a bit too close to the edge and a bit frazzled from that, so that's okay. So I've got the other grape over there. So that one's a red grape. Oop. That one's a white grape. So I'll see how they go. You can see there broccoli that's bolting. I kind of leave it there because it's providing shade for the ground, so I don't mind that too much. Come over this way. This is where the garlic was, which I've now put some capsicum, or pepper, bell pepper I think specifically, as it's known in the northern hemisphere. But the garlic looked like it was having some garlic rot, so I took that out. That's the cabbage that's been there for years. Not years, since last year, but there you go. Now this is my raspberry cane. And you can see there are some fruit on there. I actually cut it back. I should have cut it back before. It turns out the label for it actually did say it should be cut back each year. For a long time I wasn't sure which of the 2 varieties it was. Cut back or not cut back. Should have cut it back. Anyway, there's a strawberry. Hopefully that one's alright. I suspect that some birds were pecking through this netting, so I've raised it a bit to try and prevent that causing more trouble. Obviously the bean here has done its job. Oh, actually there's a seed pod, so I might be able to salvage or harvest, I should say, some for that to plant again. That'd be nice. Over to here, one of my nectarine trees actually does have fruit and hasn't suffered too much leaf curl. I don't know if they will actually get to a point where they can be eaten, but that's not too bad. But the big success so far is this one. I suspect they're peach, but I'm not sure. So this is the issue with, I guess, growing from self-saved seed. These will be supermarket fruit originally, but I saved the seed and then sort of tried to propagate them. It has worked. I'm just not entirely sure what sort of fruit they are, but given the furriness on that, my guess would be peach, which would be nice. So that's there. The gooseberry bush over here. See if I can get around it. Actually, it's a bit to hit my while we're here. The rhubarb tends to get battered there. I might have to move it at some point. It tends to get runoff or something like that and gets covered. Excuse the chaotic visuals for a moment. There we go. Get in over here. There's a little fruit forming there. Got some more further along, so hopefully they go nicely. So I wander around. Again, lots more nigella there. Some more carnations, dianthus. Oh, that's the front gate, sorry about that. Okay, so I've had a bit of a change in here. That's a watermelon. I'm hoping that grows a bit longer and gets more established so I can put it out. We'll see how we go. I think these are foxgloves. The reason I say I think is because I did actually put seeds in a pot which were labelled as foxgloves, but it was either my own compost or soil from around here, so there are other plants and things growing in the mix as well. I think those are foxgloves though. Either way, we'll see how they go and let them grow on and see how they do. That's my, I think, one surviving kiwi plant, so I'll try and keep that going. here's my nice and successful gooseberry cutting, and they're propagated very nicely. I was more focused on keeping those than the cutting from the apple tree, because that was a store-bought apple tree. Actually, it was a store-bought gooseberry bush too, but I have other apple trees that are from saved seed that I'm still very curious to see, or to taste, I guess, what they end up like if they get to that point. I know it can take many years, but we'll see how we go. Whereas gooseberries should be able to produce quite quickly, and I quite like them. This, I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, it could, that I'd say is an orange, just because of the sort of leaf. This could be another apple, or it could be some other fruit. We shall see. We shall see. So in here, more broad beans. So growing quite nicely there. And the cherry tomato, which is from last year, is fruiting. So that's good. I've put one of the pineapples in the ground, and it's not dead yet, so we'll see how that goes. I don't expect it to do too well, but there's no real loss to it. And this is the, pretty sure that's a snow pea there. Out the window, actually, you can see some of the sweet peas, which are quite nice. There's another hollyhock there. Now, given that the ones outside are grown to about 9 feet or so, it's not going to be the right size, or the right area for it, but I can move this table, so it can actually grow up, and I might end up doing that. I might move the table around to there and see how it goes. The viburnum, which is the same as the ones in the front, exactly the same batch. I just didn't have enough to start the secondary part of the front yard, so I left it. And actually, looking at that, that looks like it's had some bug damage, but that should be all right. It looks like it's doing okay. Capsicum, again, sweet bell pepper, as your northern hemisphere people say. That's from last year as well. It grew some fruit, but they didn't grow big enough to be usable. So it's kind of an experiment seeing how that one goes. Otherwise, I've got the other ones that are growing fine. Clearly, that's not a Croc's egg plum. That's an onion. I'll just leave that to keep growing there because that's fine. And this is the avocado that was growing from the stone that was in the soil over there. So it has come good. It's looking quite healthy, actually. At some point, I'll probably have to pop that on and see how it goes. But for the moment, that is fine. And in here, I've repopulated these. So I've got some Cleome Pink Spider, Cosmos Apricot Lemon, and Bells of Ireland. Bells of Ireland didn't seem to take last time, so I don't know whether I accidentally gave them too much water or too little water, but we'll try again, see how they go. And here we have cauliflower, cucumber, and watermelon. So I figure I need some more crops ready to go out as soon as I can. At some point, I should plant that out. Those are just store-bought potatoes, cut in half to make seed potatoes, and we'll see how they do. So we'll do our quick race past the messy area. Don't look, don't look, don't look. Oh, it's a mess. Don't worry about it. Messy, 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 mess, to the back area. So we'll go from... I'm purposefully not showing you yet. So, the Linaria has come up very nicely. So definitely populated well, which is good. Yes, plenty of lettuce here, which are the ones that accidentally grew. Still have my apple tree growing there. That's the end of the ranunculus. Another Linaria. And the other apple tree. That actually looks like it's doing quite well. I'm happy about that. Another sunflower, and one of the new additions, and this one was bought as a plant, not as a seed, the famous Cafe au lait. Now that's not as big as I was thinking, so I don't know whether that's just because it's its first season here. There is of course another flower there, and there's some more flowers developing there, but that's the first flowering I've had of it, and I do like it. It's easy to see why they're kind of the gateway drug to more dahlias. So got some more sunflowers here. These are the sunflowers from seed, the ones that were accidental seed saving because the flower heads I thought were too wet, so I just chopped and dropped on the garden. Turns out they're actually fine. They dried off and the seeds became viable. And as I was saying, we have a lot more ladybirds this year, and as you can see, that's possibly why we have a lot more. I'll leave them to their privacy there. And here you can see some of the hail damage. So we had a bit of a storm a few weeks ago, came through and The hail, it's not as big as some people's hail. They were probably about not golf ball size, marble size, but there are a lot of it, so it's kind of damaging. I did forget, I've got my little orange tree there, still growing, so that's all right. And over here, more lettuce. These ones are bolted, which is interesting, so I'm guessing it's to do with the sun levels that they get. And the Hebe, inspiration, as it says there. More Linaria. And behind there is, I'll move around this way, another dahlia. That one is, I think, African Dawn, I think is what that one is. I did have another one called Nugget, but that one actually looks like it's died. Basically what happened was I think I overwatered it, which is funny because I had the two of them in pots next to each other and thought I'd watered them the same, but that one survived, the other one didn't. It's obviously a time for ladybirds to make more ladybirds, so excuse the gratuitous imagery there. I can't remember what this particular plant is, but it's starting to flower, which is nice. Yet another sunflower. The viola, Johnny Jump Up, and the end of the sugar snap peas, I think those ones are. And that is the state of the garden. November 22nd, 2023, roughly 22 degrees. Thank you for watching and happy gardening.